So today we're cutting up first gen Tacoma lower ball joints, which are also similar to third gen Forerunner lower ball joints. These are from Detroit Axle, and we're going to find their dirty secrets. There we go. So here's what's inside the ball. It looks like this part is a nice big piece of poly. Kind of a lip here. Actually, it's an area here intended for grease to get in. It's wear free, but remember it's trying to pull the ball out, so the wear is going to be on the top edge. So this is this side. Ow, that's pretty hot. So how about we pull this boot off? Here we go. Let's pull the ball out and get that cleaned. Looks like there's a good bit of mud on the bottom of the ball, which, as you may know, this truck has been in the mud everywhere that you can find mud. On and off of farm. Alright, here's where we start seeing some pretty bad things. Got some gowling going on. So this ball may have been on the way out. I remember it did start squeaking and making noises, but it had a lot less play than the original balls I pulled out. So, hey, if my steering feels better, then that won't be such a shock. It looks like this cap is split. Alright, let's continue the inspection with a little more light. Okay, now we got a little bit more light. So I'm going to keep cleaning. So as you can see, here's a grease nipple. And then it looks like this half of the poly cap comes out. So I wonder if there's any scoring on this side of the cap. So potentially this cap could move around. So there's a little bit of scoring on the back here, but so this is a pretty screwed up ball joint in reality, because the way it's So the way it's engineered, there we go. The ball's still got some retention or some dedent. So the way it's built, this ball's trying to pull out of the socket. See if we can get this to focus a little more. So really the wear is metal on metal. Right here in this area. Now, if the ball was pushing up, it would be riding a nicely lubricated poly bushing. So I feel like these might be upside down, the engineering and design of it. So these weren't totally wore out. They were a little bit loose. That was about it. Not like this. So it would have moved, would have stuck and bound a little bit. But it must have been pulled down to here somewhere. Though it might have been hard to tell with greasing. So anyway, guys, we're going to cut the other one open as well and see what's inside. Alright, so here it is. The unpainted one. Ah, she is still pretty tight. There we go. We'll just get rid of the boot. And lo and behold, this one here is entirely different inside. Let's find out what the cup's made of. See, this one's got a good bit of dirt in the bottom as well. That's definitely from running off-road. So they did say something. I did call up not Rock Auto, Detroit Axle. Oh boy, there we go. We lost all the little bits inside. I did call Detroit Axle, and they did say, basically, sorry kid, we must have changed suppliers, blah blah. Alright, let's grab it. So it looks like we got a few of these metal rings. This one here looks pretty rusty somehow. Alright, so looks like anyway, I sent the kids outside to fight, so they can postpone the battle until this is done. So this is the cap that sits behind the ball. And then these guys sit under the cap. So you can see them here. So I'm going to bring the camera up close, make sure this is focused, and pull this cap out. Sorry. So that's how it was laying in there. So we got a lot of metal shavings caught up in here. And then these springs, so it would appear there's some salt water caught in the cap. So this must be a spring that helps keep kind of helps the ball float in the socket. Let's clean up some of these other pieces here. We'll figure out, see if there's any DLC coatings or anything in here. I did notice, we could go back and take a look at it, but the other ball joint, the one, sorry, just out of frame here, is possibly DLC coated. I've heard of the DLC coatings and things, but I haven't actually really gotten my hands on anything yet, or really seen any videos of anyone going in depth about what DLC is and what kinds of functions it has or purposes it could serve. So, alright, here's this cap. We're gonna we're going to polish the ball here. So obviously the ball's got some marks in it from the grinder, but and the wear on the ball looks like we got a wear ring here. So we have this ring here, not sure what that's serving. Here's the grinder mark where we hit it. We got a bit of a wear ring. That's probably that neck's probably the pickle fork. And then the ball's got this oblong wear ring on it, which is probably just the way that the suspension was sitting. So this unpainted sealed one is actually in better condition overall than the other one. You have to remember as well that there was periods of time where this ball, the boot itself had water in it. So we got a little play. So imagine you have a spring on the back. That'll help keep the ball in the socket. So looks like this ball and socket setup is not nearly as wore out as the other one. So maybe the grease nipple one, so this ball would have sat on an angle like this. So maybe the grease nipple one is not the one to have. So anyway, let's go back here and look at this. So put the camera up here. So this would have been, I'm trying to decide what side this is from. This would have been the driver's side because it's got the little stopper on it so it doesn't turn too far. So this would have been the driver one, I think, that I fixed first. Like I said before, that's what I think. But this one may have 3 years of wear on it. So either, see, there's a dent from the puller, the pickle fork again, and the cut from the grinder. But so evidently, well, I imagine I neglected this one longer before I ended up greasing these. I think I greased the other one first out of concern. Well, I probably greased this, but like I said, it didn't take more than a portion of a stroke. So I'm not positive that this ever got grease. So yeah, this was neglected for a year and then greased, and then a year later it got a slit in the boot, and then I ran it. So the other one here, this guy here got greased probably within the first year of service. So yeah, I'm not sure. Almost like the sealed one better. So let's talk about the DLC coating. You can tell there's a black coating in here. So I went in. So I don't know what a DLC coating is like. This looks like a plastic coating almost. And it's worn through here. It's really thin though. So it feels like poly or plastic. And then this guy's got the big split poly bush. So yeah, the balls are the same size. So this guy sat in here trying to pull out. So yeah, the poly one's got more wear, and I'm not seeing that the grease nipple is really helping the matter. But guys, if you want to save your life and your family's life, please go on the 1st Gen Tacoma page or the 3rd Gen 4Runner page and find JoJo in there and get yourself some OEM parts and save your life and your family's life too. Life is too short and fragile to run around on probably $30 parts. Way too cheap for sure. So those are the dirty secrets inside the Rock Auto joints. I mean the Detroit Axle joints. I gotta be honest, I use Detroit Axle parts for a lot of American-made cars, and so far I like the parts. No issues. And with me working on more higher mileage and older stuff that probably has a pretty short service life, those kinds of parts might be okay. But the ball joints in these trucks are engineered in an entirely different way, seeing that the ball joint is running upside down, and it's not putting any pressure on the poly cup. I would assume the poly cup is there to take up some wear and hold some lubricant. So this is what I made, a little display. I wish I had a label printer so I can make a little label for this, but this is basically what the ball joints look like. Little cup scoring. I noticed that the grease nipple doesn't even have a pathway into the ball. So maybe that's why the grease is all oozing out the cap. And then this guy, both from Rock Auto, greasable, painted, non-greasable, non-painted. Anyway, guys, I don't recommend the Rock Auto joints, not even for your worst enemy. Be safe. Get the ones off of the, get the OEM ones. Have them shipped to your door. Thanks for watching, guys. That's the end of the show. I'm going to keep this for a little trophy. And a reminder of the blessing of being alive. Yep. Thank you. See ya.